All right. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining me for today's webinar on 10 tips to be thankful for. So, as the title suggests, I'll be going over 10, I think, tips or like menu items that probably you guys will know some of them. And hopefully, there's at least one or two you guys get introduced to. So, the first tip is a simple one, but I think it's always good for new agents or as a reminder. You can favorite menu items. So this bar right here, for me, it says office member search, the reports for users. Of course, I have a little bit of a different need for Flex than agents do, right? But I can add different items. I can remove these items simply by opening the menu. And you can, I bet, already see where this is going. Some of these items have the gold star next to it. That means it's on my favorite bar. So if I wanted to add, say, CMA to my favorites, I can hover the CMA menu item. I get that gray outline you can see to the left of my cursor, and I can click on that, turns the star gold, and look at that. The CMA is now on my favorites bar, maybe the hot bar, whatever you want to call it. So super simple, super easy. That's the first tip is favoriting your important menu items that you click on every day. Now to get into something a little better, maybe something that you guys might not know, is that you can actually enter in basic search criteria from the quick launch bar here. So the quick launch bar is the search bar up on this top left that I'm hovering. And what I mean by basic criteria is like the location, the price, number of beds and baths. It's pretty limited. So I want to look for a 2-bed, 2-bath. So I'm even shorthanding it. And I'm going to pause right here because you can already see it wants me to start a search with 2+ total baths and 2+ number of bedrooms. So you can already see the criteria being built out in the search. I'll say I need between 300K and 700K. Probably a pretty big price range. And again, right, we can see this line getting updated. We now have a list price in there. Let's do Portland, town of Portland, and I'm going to hit enter. Or I'll actually click on one of the searches to actually get it started. Let's go to the edit search so that you can see the criteria on the left side, right? So list price between 300K and 700K. Total baths is 2+, right? The town of Portland, and 2+ bedrooms as I had entered it up here. So again, for me, I really like this because I think it's just easier to type out what I'm looking for as opposed to clicking and clicking and clicking. But try this out and see if this kind of, I guess, pattern or this process works better for you, I should say. And while we're at the quick search, maybe I'm looking for stats on potential comparable listings for a property I'm about to list. So let's change, no, I just want closed. Let's change the status to closed, right? With still the same criteria. Maybe I have a Portland listing I'm looking into. I'm thinking good comps would be between 300 and 700. Total baths needs to be 2+. Bedrooms needs to be 2+. I'm not a real listing agent. You guys might be able to tell already. So this might not be the best way to find comps, but let's pretend I'm looking for comps for an upcoming listing. So I'm just going close the last year, right, in Portland. And I'm looking for the list tab up here on the top right. So even though I have a lot of listings and if I was truly doing a comp, right, I would probably reduce the amount of time looking back to the close date. Maybe I'd be a little more specific with my criteria. Again, just kind of making this up. So we have our listings here. So I would be able to scroll through my results. This kind of makes sense, right? This is the same old, same old. I could scroll through my list of results and cherry pick my favorites for a comp. But what I want to show you guys is the stats tab. So along the same line as where we'd go to the list tab to see our results, we can go to stats, right? And really what I'm looking to show you guys, so of course we have listings by status here at the top. It's all closed because it was the only status I chose, right? But it would be a beautiful pie graph if you had a bunch of statuses. And then this average, median, low, and high statistics might be good for you guys to know. So if you're doing a little research on the Portland market with listings that are relatively close to the listing that you're looking at, you can actually see some of the data behind those listings, help you justify a certain list price or not, kind of thing, right? So it might be good to have these stats for the area. And then you also have days on market and the sold list ratios to kind of show you that usually the longer your listing sits on the market, the less you're getting for the sold price relative to your list price, right? So for these listings that I pulled up, right? These 257 in Portland, almost 80% of them were on the market for less than 30 days. And of those, the average SP over LP, so on average, these listings sold for almost 4% more than the list price. Whereas if you look at just the 31 to 60 day mark, right, those listings sold for about 2.5% less than the list price. So days on market does seem to have an impact. However, I feel like it's probably more having to do with properly listing the price originally. So yes, start your quick search through the quick launch bar to start your basic criteria. Utilize this stats tab to find localized statistics on whatever your searches are. All right, so let's go back to our list. Let's just say, hey, wait a second. Actually, no, let's edit my search. Let's go to active. Let's go back to active status. Go back to the list. And I say, wait a second, 105 Beverly Street. This looks almost exactly like something that one of my clients would be into. Don't I have a client that is looking for a house like this? If that is a question you're asking yourself when you're looking at a listing in the MLS, if you click on the little drop-down arrow next to the MLS number on this page, one of the options is match contacts. So I'm going to click on that, and I might not, actually, I do get something. Cool. It's probably a very general search. And this essentially is what the system is doing is looking at all of your clients, all of your contacts with a saved search, and is looking to see if the listing that you just ran match contacts on matches any of their search criteria. So of course, if you have them on a subscription, you have your contact on a subscription service, chances are they're going to get this listing through that service, right? But maybe you notice that they don't really open those emails as frequently as you'd like them to. Or maybe you know for a fact, hey, I don't want them to miss this listing. This would be a great way to just double check, right? That the listing you're looking at matches something, a search, I should say, for one of your contacts. And then you can check them off, and then you can email the listing to them. So a really simple way to get your clients to get a double look, or a second look, I should say, at a property you feel strongly matches their criteria. And you can do it for anybody. And it's just a guess, right? You can run it, takes 1 second, as you saw. So even if you're not 100% sure if there's a match, it doesn't hurt to run it. In a similar vein to this, let me return to my search results. So that's if you have the contacts, right? And you're looking from the buyer perspective. That's what match contacts is good for. Reverse prospecting is a tool that works similarly, but it's really for the selling side, from the selling perspective. So I'm going to do the menu. And it is under contacts, reverse prospecting. It's right here, right in the middle for me. So where I don't have listings, and I'm not allowed to have listings, for me, this is what my reverse prospecting page looks like. It's asking me for an MLS number. Your reverse prospecting page should be like a list of your listings, and then you can click on an address and then run reverse prospecting based on that listing. I do unfortunately have to type in an MLS number. You saw I just clicked one in random on that drop-down list. Let's run reverse prospecting and hopefully we find something. And to explain a little more, what reverse prospecting is doing, instead of looking at your contacts and the searches you have set up for a match with a property, reverse prospecting is going to be looking at other agents' contacts and those contacts' search criteria. If the other, well, now we already have three, which is pretty good. So we have three agents here. And what this is telling me is that these three agents have a contact with a saved search that this property meets the criteria of. So yes, again, from the perspective of the seller, you can safely assume that if there's a subscription service set up, that the agent that you're connecting with, their contact probably has already seen the listing, or at least it went out in an email because it met their criteria, right? But it never hurts to try for a second look. So this is our way of essentially sending marketing emails to agents, because we don't give you a mass email list like your local boards will do. So instead of cold calling people, right, we want to give you like a warm lead. So I'm going to check off the three agents here. I'm going to click email selected, just so you can see what the email by default looks like. Each recipient along the top here do get separate emails. So it's not like a BCC thing. It goes specifically to each of these agents will get a specific unique email to them, right? So all it says is, hey, I ran the reverse prospecting function, and it let me know that one of your contacts has a search that this listing meets the criteria of, right? Change this as much as you want. Agent matching contacts right here. So this looks like a jumble of nothing to us. But what this is doing is, to the agent who receives the email, it's going to give them it's going to give them the contact that has the match. So I have a contact named Janice Finch. Let's just say I received one of these reverse prospecting emails. It's going to say Janice Finch right here. And in the email, and you can type it out some more, pretty much you can say, hey, I know there's a match between this listing and your client. Can you please forward this to them and give them a second chance to look at it? It's really what the reverse prospecting is doing for us. Second chance to get our eyeballs to the clients who we know are, interested in sense that they have the criteria, right? I'm not going to hit send because it's not my listing. But we can continue. And on the vein of looking at listings, let's return to dashboard. And actually, I should be keeping count. I apologize, guys. We are actually on tip number 6, and it is the listing activity report. So let me just pick on a random new listing in the hot sheet. I am going to edit this listing. So as long as you have the ability to edit the listing, get to this change residential listing screen, then you have the ability to view the listing activity report. So from here along the top, simply click the activity tab. Okay, simply click the activity tab. Cool, it took 2 clicks. And here, right, so this is a relatively new listing, so we might not get a whole bunch. But here is where people are viewing this listing, right? How many people saw it in Flex? How many people got an email from Flex with it? How many clients with the access to the portal clicked on this listing when they were doing their own searches? Flex MLS IDX, so how many people reviewed the listing on a third-party website? That one might be hard to be specific or completely accurate on, because they would have to give us that info back. How are people rating this listing, right? So 5 people saved it. That's pretty good. And 1 agent hid it from their clients. So that's what this means right here. An agent hid the listing from their clients because they knew it wasn't a good fit. Here's some actions people took, right? So 16 people have already shared the listing. That could be back to their agent for more information. It could be that they shared it with a loved one to say, hey, look at this listing. Is this the right one? Interesting. So people who save this listing also viewed. This is a good way to kind of see like what your competition is in the market. So people who saved this listing, right, favorited this listing, of the contacts out there who saved this listing, what are those other listings they're looking at? So again, take this to kind of be almost like your competition. This is what the people who are interested in your listing, these are the other listings they're looking at. I have a feeling that's 66 grand. Sorry, I'm just taking note because that might be incorrect. I don't know, maybe not. I think it's the cents that are throwing, the 99 cents is throwing me off. I don't know. All right, I'll find out. And then instead of just saying which your clients, or I'm sorry, contacts saved this listing, these are the other ones. This is people who looked at this listing only viewed these ones as well. So a little less competition, but just take it to be these are the listings that people are also looking at when they look at this listing too. Cool. Let's go to, oh, okay, tip number 7. We are going to the menu and we are going under preferences to general preferences. So we get a lot of calls about the My Listings page. Someone will say, hey, I have an active under contract listing, but it's not under the My Listings page and I can't find it. One, make sure you're taking down or like noting at least somewhere the MLS numbers of your listings, just in case there's a little funk. Especially with personal property listings, personal property and CIE, so the commercial info exchange listings, do not appear on the My Listings page. It has some issues with the custom database and how it interacts with Flex. I don't know. I just know that personal property and CIE doesn't show on the My Listings page. It will show on the change listing page though. So if you have a personal property listing that you need to make an edit to, go to change listing, not My Listings. That's a very specific message for a very specific few people. So what I'm really here for is showing you how to expand what listings appear on the My Listings page. So along the top of the general preferences, I'm going to go to the listings tab. And I am not sure if these are the defaults. I apologize. I'm not sure what defaults you guys are going to see. But these listings that are switched over to blue, so active, active under contract, pending, closed, for example, those are going to appear in your My Listings page, right? But for me right now, a coming soon no-show listing I have isn't going to appear there because I don't have that status turned on for that page, if that makes sense. So if I wanted to also have my coming soon no-show listings display on the My Listings page, I just got to flip it to blue and click save. Bada bing, bada boom. So now, not that I can show you because I don't have listings, but now my listings page will show the coming soon listing status as well. So that's how you can expand that My Listings page in case you've ever run into the situation of not seeing your listing there. Probably you just need to fix that setting. In a similar vein to that, we're hopping back into preferences, but this time we're going to go to portal preferences, same spot in the menu. Just instead of general, we're going to portal. The reason this is because we get a lot of calls, people who are have a subscription service for their client. Their clients are saying, hey, there's no documents when I get these emails. I can't see the documents. A lot of agents will then just download the documents from the MLS and then send them in a separate email. Not that that's a bad thing, and I don't think it takes a lot of time at all, but again, I'm also not an agent with a million clients, so but if you want to just avoid that and you want your clients to see the documents themselves, you want to come to the portal preferences, open up the listing content options, second to last bucket, and just make sure the documents at the very least is switched to green. So by default, these are turned off for agents. So if you haven't come here and turned this on yourself, make sure you do that, or your clients will never see the documents and they're going to keep bugging you to download them for you. And again, when you make changes, if you do, make sure you click save at the bottom right so it locks in that change. All right, resetting. We are now at tip number 9, which is going to be the My Sent Emails page. So when you're sending emails out of Flex, it gives you a few options, right? You can email from your default application, you can email from Flex, or you can just get the link. I always recommend doing the I always recommend sending from Flex because it gives us the most tracking in the My Sent Emails page. So Opening up the menu, again, going to contacts and clicking my sent emails. You can see I don't really have much because I'm not sending listings manually to clients. But what I can do, actually, let me just read left to right before I get too much deeper. So we're looking at the My Sent Emails page. We're currently looking at manual emails that have been sent from my account in the last 30 days. Fortunately, we don't have much. Maybe if I open this drop down and I click maybe last 365, here we go. So I can see all of the manual emails I've sent out of Flex. I used the send from Flex option. I can see all of these emails for the last year, right? Well, at the very least, I can see that they got sent. I can't see the contents after a certain amount of time, unfortunately. If you have a whole bunch of emails in here and you have a client who's like, hey, I never received an email from you, you can, if you believe you had sent the listing manually, you can come here, you can search for the client's email address or their name, and you can just get an isolated list of what you've sent to them, which can be super helpful. If you need to track the subscription emails coming through, or going out, I should say, because your client says, I think the common one is they'll send you like a Zillow or Realtor.com link, and they'll say, hey, I think this meets my criteria. Why didn't I get it in an email from you? Why didn't you catch this first? Chances are, and it's usually 99% is my experience with helping people, chances are they did get sent the email, they just didn't click it, right? And the way to confirm that is moving to the subscription tab. So here I have a bunch more options. And these are all of the automatic subscription emails that have gone to my clients. So one thing to note is that you're limited to just 90 days back with the subscription emails. Again, unlike manual, which went back the whole 365. So again, that's the My Listings page, or I'm sorry, that's the My Sent Emails page. And it's a great place to go to troubleshoot when clients claim that they aren't getting emails. This is one of the first places I go. And last but not least is the default map. So if I open a quick search real quick, and then I close, you can see that I generally have what, like 90-ish, maybe percent, 80% of the state in view. And not that this is a bad thing, right? Because we know we can zoom in on an area. We know once we enter criteria, the map's going to automatically adjust to put us there, right? So we know it's going to make adjustments for us. So it's not a huge deal. Oh, Medford. I'm happy I landed there. Shout out Medford. We can actually adjust this default map to be more of a specific market area that you generally work in. So again, when we do that, it's not going to limit you to just that area when you're opening the quick search map. It's just a landing page to kind of, I think, basically just help you more visualize your working area as opposed to seeing, 3,000 dots across the entire state, right? So let's go to the menu. Under preferences, again, third time in preferences, we are going to the default map. So here's that default map. This square is the indication of what we're seeing when we open the quick search. I am going to come down to the toolbar on the right and click my little square, my rectangle tool option. And then I can just draw over an area to reset this. So let's go to Kenduskeag to Dedham. Why not? Click to lock in. Right now I have this dark blue square. It's a rectangle. This dark blue rectangle, that's how you know that it's locked in. I can click save. And I don't trust that. I'm gonna click save one more time. All right. Now let's do a quick search and we should be zoomed in. So we still get all of the matches, right? We still get 4,000 matches. We're not limiting ourselves, but now we are zoomed into the Bangor area. And it just makes it a little cleaner. If this is the area that I typically work in, I don't need to worry about the rest of the state. All right, let us reset now because, well, that was all 10 tips. I want to thank you all for joining me for today's webinar, again, on 10 tips to be thankful for. If you have any questions after the webinar ends, please feel free to give us a call at 207-780-1366 or send us an email at help@mainlistings.com. I want to thank you guys again for joining me and have a great rest of your day.